The galaxy was at war again. Countless fleets moved between the stars, their ships like sparks of fire against the endless night. On the outer rim of a quiet system, hundreds of alien warships gathered. Their commanders spoke with pride, their voices echoing across the comm channels. They believed this battle would be easy, another quick victory. Humanity had been silent for so long, too long. To most of them, humans were a forgotten enemy, a lost species, a name buried under dust and time. But silence does not always mean weakness. The alien fleets formed a circle around the system, weapons charged and shields glowing. Their war council boasted that no single force could break their unity. The night sky filled with the hum of engines, the cold shimmer of plasma shields and the deadly blue of charged cannons. Their generals laughed. Even if humans crawl back, their ships will shatter like glass before our fire. Then, the sensors changed. At first, it was only a shadow in the void, a distortion, something the computers struggled to describe. The officers thought it was nothing more than debris or a malfunction. But the shadow grew larger. A faint golden glow appeared against the black far beyond the edge of the fleet. Every scanner strained to lock on. The alien voices grew uneasy. Something was coming. Something vast. The glow brightened into a storm of light. Space bent and twisted. A wormhole tore open, spilling blue energy like a cosmic wound. Out of that wound came a shape so massive it seemed to block the stars themselves. A battleship. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its hull was forged in gold and black steel, carved with sharp lines and glowing windows that stretched across its endless body. Thousands of lights pulsed like a beating heart, and its engines burned brighter than suns. The ship moved slowly, but each second it grew more terrifying, more undeniable. It was human. The comm channels filled with silence. The alien captains stared at the sight, their voices trapped in their throats. The golden battleship drifted forward, its shields humming, its guns silent. It made no attempt to hide, no attempt to hurry. It simply arrived like it had all the time in the universe. Fear began to spread. Some commanders whispered, "Impossible. Humans are extinct." Their fleets were broken. Others muttered old stories, tales spoken in secret. Stories of human ships that fought until the last star faded. Stories of wars that burned half the galaxy before humanity vanished into the dark. No one wanted to believe those stories were true. Now the truth floated before their eyes. The alien fleets tried to stay steady. Orders were shouted, weapons primed. "Fire on it before it moves. Do not let it charge its guns." But the ship did not move to attack. It simply rotated, its golden armor reflecting the light of nearby stars, showing the scars of past battles engraved across its hull. The silence was worse than any weapon. Inside the War Council, leaders argued. Some demanded an immediate strike. Others hesitated, afraid that this single ship was not alone. Could there be more? Was this only the beginning? The wormhole behind the battleship collapsed, vanishing in a storm of blue sparks. And then there was only the golden ship, hanging in the dark, waiting. A young alien officer whispered words that chilled his entire crew. "It is not here to fight us. It is here to remind us," the captains shouted over each other. They ordered fleets to reposition, to surround the massive vessel. Warships shifted, engines roaring, trying to cage the intruder in light and fire. The golden battleship did not react. It allowed them to circle as if it did not care, and perhaps it did not. The alien soldiers, seasoned and ruthless, found their hands trembling on the controls. Some looked away from their screens, unable to face the growing fear in their hearts. This was not just a ship. This was a symbol, a warning carved into steel. Across the galaxy, the transmission of the arrival spread. Soldiers in far-off systems watched the live feed with wide eyes. Citizens in distant colonies whispered the same question. Has humanity returned? No answer came. Only the image of that ship. And yet the answer was already clear. The alien commanders ordered their fleets to prepare. Thousands of cannons powered up, their blue light glowing against the darkness. Drones swarmed forward, scanning for weaknesses. Fighters launched like arrows, circling the golden vessel. They expected panic. They expected retreat, but the human battleship did not move. It stayed where it was, its weapons sleeping, its shields glowing faintly like the calm surface of an ocean. It was waiting. Every second felt heavier than the last. Every heartbeat echoed louder in the ears of the alien soldiers. The commanders shouted again, but their voices no longer carried confidence. They knew deep inside that this ship was not just steel and engines. It was the shadow of something far greater. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but humanity had not forgotten the galaxy. As the fleets tightened their circle, as weapons aimed at the golden hull, one truth began to settle over them all. The battle that was about to begin would never be the same again. The fleets did not wait forever. Fear was heavy in their ships, but pride was heavier. Alien commanders ordered their crews to open fire. "Destroy it before it moves," one shouted. Across the circle of warships, thousands of cannons lit up like stars exploding. Beams of plasma and streams of missiles shot forward, painting the void with deadly light. For a moment, the universe looked like it was on fire. The golden battleship remained still. Its shields shimmered faintly as the storm hit. Explosions flared, beams cracked against its armor, but nothing broke. The alien soldiers stared in shock. Their weapons, the same weapons that had crushed empires, did not even scratch the surface. Inside one cruiser, a pilot whispered, "It is not fighting back." His commander barked at him to stay silent, but the words hung heavy. It was true. The battleship did not move. It did not aim. It simply endured, and then it answered. A low hum spread across the void. The human ship glowed brighter, its weapons waking like ancient beasts. Along its golden hull, panels shifted and opened. Blue light gathered at the tips of massive cannons. There was no rush, no panic, only calm precision, as if the ship was taking its time. The first shot came like a star collapsing. A single beam cut across the battlefield, faster than sight. One alien destroyer vanished in fire, split in half before its crew even screamed. The shockwave rippled through the enemy fleet. Soldiers cried out, voices cracking with disbelief. This was not a weapon. This was judgment. Panic spread. Fighters rushed forward, desperate to swarm the battleship. They weaved in patterns, trying to confuse its sensors. The human ship fired again, but not in wild bursts. Every shot was perfect. One beam, one kill. Fighters burned like sparks, falling silent in seconds. The alien commanders shouted orders. "Keep firing. Overload its shields!" It must have a weakness. But each moment broke their faith. The human battleship did not rush, did not miss, did not retreat. It was like watching the ocean rise against a sandcastle. On one command ship, an admiral leaned forward, his claws digging into the chair. "This cannot be just one ship," he whispered. "It is too strong. It is impossible," but it was not impossible. It was human. The battle turned into chaos. Alien ships fired without coordination, desperate to land a strike. Their beams lit the void in frantic patterns, but the battleship glided forward slowly, almost peacefully. Its golden armor reflected the chaos as if mocking them. Another beam cut across the fleet. A cruiser exploded, sending fragments spinning into the dark. A frigate tried to ram the ship, screaming across comms, but it never reached. A turret turned, fired once, and the frigate vanished in dust. The silence inside the alien fleets grew worse than the sound of war. Soldiers who had been raised to fear nothing now felt cold dread. Their hands shook, their voices broke, and their hearts whispered the same truth. They were not fighting a ship. They were facing a legend. For the first time, the galaxy remembered what humanity meant. On the War Council channel, alien leaders screamed at each other. Some ordered retreat. Others demanded the attack continue. Pride clashed with terror, but fear was stronger. Ships began to pull back, engines burning as they tried to escape the circle. The human battleship turned slowly, its cannons tracking. It did not chase the retreating ships. Instead, it targeted the strongest ones, the command vessels. One shot, then another. Admirals who had sworn to crush humanity vanished in fire. The surviving fleets broke apart completely. No formation, no unity, just panic. But still, the battleship did not pursue. It remained calm, drifting forward through the wreckage. The flames of destroyed ships burned around it, but it moved untouched, a golden ghost in the night. The alien survivors whispered among themselves. Some begged for mercy. Others refused to speak, afraid their words would draw its fire. And then the human battleship stopped firing. Its weapons folded back into its hull. Silence returned. The message was clear. It had never come to destroy them all. It had come to remind them of fear. On every channel, on every world where the battle was broadcast, billions watched. Civilians gasped, soldiers trembled, leaders sat frozen in their seats. Humanity had been silent for so long. But now it spoke not with words but with fire. The galaxy had thought itself safe. It had thought humanity was finished. But one ship had proven them wrong, and the battle was far from over. The battlefield grew quiet after the destruction. Wreckage drifted in silence, glowing with fire that slowly faded into the endless night. The alien fleets no longer fought in formation. Their voices shook across the comm channels, filled with disbelief and fear. No one dared to charge again. The golden battleship floated calmly among the ruins. Its weapons were silent now, folded neatly into its massive hull. Its glow was steady, cold, and unbroken. To the aliens, that silence was worse than any storm of fire. It was not mercy. It was dominance. Across the galaxy, the broadcast of the battle reached distant systems. Every outpost, every colony, every empire tuned in. Billions of eyes watched the same image. One human ship standing alone against an armada. Some gasped in shock, others whispered old stories, and many could not believe what they saw. But they all felt the same thing. Fear. In the halls of alien leaders, debates turned into panic. Generals who once laughed at humanity now struggled to keep their voices steady. It cannot be real, some said. It is an illusion, a trick of technology. But deep down they knew the truth. No illusion could burn fleets to dust. On the civilian worlds, rumors spread faster than light. Parents pulled their children close, telling them stories of the old wars when humanity fought until whole stars turned cold. Traitors spoke in secret, warning that the return of humans would change everything. On the slave worlds, whispers grew into hope that maybe, just maybe, the humans would come for them too. The fear reached every corner. Meanwhile, inside the alien fleet still floating near the golden battleship, silence turned to collapse. Captains ignored orders, crews begged for retreat. Some ships turned and fled without permission, engines burning as they vanished into hyperspace. Discipline broke. Pride shattered. One alien admiral tried to hold his fleet together. His voice thundered across the comms. We are stronger in numbers. Do not flee.
It is only one ship?
But even he could hear the tremor in his own voice. His words were hollow. Every soldier knew it. The human battleship drifted slowly toward him. Its cannons tracked his command ship with frightening calm. The admiral froze, his claws digging into his chair. He had led hundreds of battles, conquered dozens of worlds, and never once feared an enemy. But now, staring at that silent golden monster, his heart betrayed him. He whispered a prayer before the beam came. His ship vanished in light. The fleet scattered completely after that. There was no more command, no more order, no more courage. They broke like glass, fleeing in every direction, leaving behind only wreckage and silence. The golden battleship did not chase. It simply moved forward, slow and unstoppable, letting the survivors run. Across the galaxy, leaders received desperate reports. Armadas crushed in minutes. Generals burned. Fleets scattered. The same message repeated again and again. Humanity has returned. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy trembled. On a distant council world, alien rulers argued. Some demanded immediate surrender if humans appeared again. Others called for secret alliances, desperate to build defenses. But there was no unity. Fear ate through them like fire through dry grass. Because fear is stronger than any weapon, in the shadows, smaller species whispered in hope. Those who had lived under the boots of larger empires dreamed of freedom. If humanity's battleship could crush the strongest fleets, maybe they too would be saved. Maybe the galaxy would finally change. Back on the battlefield, the human ship sent no message. It simply existed, and that was enough. Every alien who survived would carry the memory forever. The glowing gold against the black sky, the calm fire of its cannons, the silence that crushed their spirits more than explosions ever could. One survivor, a young alien pilot, fled into hyperspace with his damaged fighter. His hands shook on the controls, his breath ragged. He recorded a single sentence into his log before collapsing. It was not a battle. It was a warning. That log spread faster than fire. Soldiers repeated it. Civilians whispered it. Leaders feared it. And soon the entire galaxy spoke the same truth. The humans had not returned to fight. They had returned to remind, and every empire now wondered the same thing. If one battleship could do this, how many more were waiting in the dark? The galaxy learned fear that day, and fear would never leave them again. The battlefield was empty now. What remained of the alien fleets had scattered into the dark. leaving behind broken ships and drifting fire. Silence returned to the void, heavy and endless. Only one ship remained, the golden battleship, calm and unshaken, floating like a monument among the ruins. But silence cannot last forever. Across the galaxy, leaders, soldiers, and civilians watched the live feed. Billions of eyes fixed on the vessel, waiting for movement, waiting for a sign. Questions hung in every mind. Would it attack again? Would it vanish into the dark? Or had it come for something more? The answer came without warning. The golden ship glowed brighter. Energy rippled along its hull, shimmering like sunlight across water. And then every comm channel opened at once. From the smallest scout craft to the grandest council chamber, voices fell silent as a single image filled their screens. A human. He stood tall in a dark uniform, framed by the faint glow of the battleship's command deck. His face was calm, his eyes sharp and cold. He did not shout. He did not smile. His voice carried the weight of 1,000 years, quiet but heavy enough to silence entire worlds. "I am commander of the Terran battleship Eidolon," he said. His words were slow, steady, and every syllable carried a blade of certainty. "This battle is finished. You know it. I know it." The aliens who watched trembled. Some cursed under their breath. Others leaned closer, unable to look away. It was not just the words that struck them. It was the way he spoke, as though the galaxy itself was already beneath him. "For centuries," the commander continued, "you thought humanity gone, broken, extinct. You built your empires on that belief. You told your children stories of our end. You told yourselves we were dust." He leaned forward slightly, his eyes narrowing. "You were wrong." Those 3 words spread like thunder across the galaxy. On council worlds, rulers froze in their seats. On military stations, hardened soldiers felt their chests tighten. In hidden colonies, the oppressed raised their heads in hope. The commander did not pause. His voice sharpened, cutting deeper. "We do not die. Humanity does not vanish. We return always, stronger than before. You tried to bury us, but you cannot bury fire. You cannot bury steel. You cannot bury the will of our kind." His words were like hammer strikes. Simple, clear, final. Across the fleets, still limping through hyperspace, alien captains clenched their jaws, their eyes wet with fear. Their soldiers listened in silence, knowing they had already lost more than ships. They had lost the belief that humanity could be defeated. The human commander raised a hand. Behind him, the great windows of the Eidolon showed the burning wreckage outside. He gestured to it as if to make his message plain. "This is not invasion. This is not conquest. This is reminder. You will remember this day. You will tell your children what you saw. The galaxy will never again forget what humans are." The broadcast cut off for a heartbeat. The silence felt crushing. Then his voice returned, lower this time, like a whisper that carried across every star. "We are humanity, and we have come back." The transmission ended. For a moment, the galaxy seemed frozen in place. No one spoke. No one moved. It was as if time itself held its breath. And then slowly the reactions began. In the alien war councils, chaos erupted. Leaders shouted at each other, desperate to form plans, desperate to explain what they had seen. Some wanted peace at once. Others demanded weapons, though their voices shook with fear. In hidden colonies and slave worlds, whispers became cheers. Secret rebellions flared in the dark, fueled by the thought that humanity had returned to fight. On trading routes, ships passed the words from system to system. "We are humanity, and we have come back." Merchants spread them, smugglers whispered them, and even children repeated them. It became a chant, a truth no empire could silence. But fear spread faster than hope. Armadas across the stars trained harder, ships refitted in haste. Commanders ordered new fleets built, but no matter how much steel they raised, the fear remained. How many human ships were out there? Was this the only one? Or was it the first of thousands waiting in the dark? Every empire asked the same question, but no one had an answer. And on the battlefield, where silence had returned, the golden battleship drifted alone. It did not move to pursue. It did not vanish. It simply waited, glowing like a second sun, as if it knew its presence alone was enough. In the silence of space, the galaxy learned something far more terrifying than weapons or fleets. It learned that humanity did not need to conquer. It only needed to speak. The words of the human commander did not fade. They echoed across the stars like thunder trapped in every mind. "We are humanity, And we have come back. It was more than a statement. It was a wound carved into the heart of the galaxy. On council worlds, the greatest leaders sat in silence. Some had ruled for centuries, never knowing defeat, never knowing doubt. But now their hands trembled, their eyes fixed on empty screens long after the transmission ended. They felt something they had not felt in generations. Fear, fear of one ship. Fear of one voice, fear of humanity. Armadas that once boasted of victory now trained in secrecy, their crews whispering at night about the golden battleship. Even as they built more weapons, even as they raised more fleets, they knew in their hearts that steel and fire would not save them. Because this was not about numbers. This was about belief, and belief had already been shattered. On smaller worlds, the story spread like fire. Children repeated the words of the human commander as if they were sacred. Traders carried the story along every route, passing it faster than any fleet could travel. Soldiers told it in mess halls, their voices low, their eyes uneasy. It became a legend before the battle wreckage even cooled. But the most dangerous change did not happen in the halls of power. It happened in the shadows. In the slave mines, whispers rose among the broken. The humans are back. On forgotten colonies under brutal rule, rebels lifted their heads for the first time in years. The humans fight for themselves. Maybe they will fight for us too. The galaxy's strongest empires felt their control weaken, not because humanity had destroyed them, but because humanity had reminded everyone of something greater. Hope for the weak, fear for the strong. Back on the battlefield, the golden ship still waited. Its presence was enough. No fleet dared to return, no commander dared to face it. The wreckage drifted around it like a graveyard of arrogance, and through that silence the message spread faster and deeper. Humanity had not come to conquer. Humanity had come to warn. On one distant world, a historian wrote the first words of what would become a new era. The day the Eidolon arrived, the galaxy remembered fear, but fear is not easily forgotten. Weeks turned into months and still no second human ship appeared. The galaxy searched desperately. Scouts crossed star systems, spies moved in shadows. Leaders spent sleepless nights asking the same question. Was it only one ship? Or was it the first of many? The silence of humanity was worse than war. Every empire waited for the hammer to fall, but it never came. And so their fear grew heavier, deeper, sharper, because enemies that strike can be measured, but enemies that watch can never be escaped. On the council floors, rulers fought each other, desperate to prepare. Some wanted to unite, to build an alliance against the humans. Others whispered about surrender before another battle ever came. But none could agree. The fear of humanity had turned them against themselves, and still, the battleship floated among the stars. No message. No movement. Only presence. It became a second sun in the night sky, a reminder that humans were not myths, not extinct, not forgotten. They were here. And they could return at any moment. The galaxy had laughed at humanity once. But laughter cannot live beside fire. Now, whenever a commander raised their fleet, whenever a leader gave orders, whenever a soldier picked up a weapon, they remembered the golden ship. They remembered the silence after it fired. They remembered the voice of the human commander, and they feared. In time, the story grew beyond truth. Some swore they had seen dozens of human ships hidden in the void. Others claimed humanity's fleets were waiting behind every star. Myths spread, but none dared to challenge them. Because fear does not need proof. Fear only needs memory. And the memory of that day would never die. The galaxy had learned fear. Not from invasion, not from destruction, but from the calm voice of a human and the golden ship that stood alone against them all. And as long as the stars burned, they would remember.